Hi guys, I'm Rick, and that is one big pile of bricks with our amazing guest, Bilsy! Sorry, Dan.
Season 1 Lego Master.
Season 1's most controversial team, right?
Definitely most controversial, like hands down the most controversial team. But you know, if you're not winning, the next thing you want is the most talked about, the most controversial, the best looking, the most patient.
You're the reason why we were so busy at the meet and greets. Not Maddie or Caitlin or any of those girls. Just
Who?
you. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Everyone wanted the inside gossip.
So with the, it's been like 4 or 5 years. It's been a long time.
How long has it been?
2019 we aired, April 2019. So
19,
literally 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
3
Yeah,
years.
wow. And so going back to Lego Masters, obviously, because
Yep.
it's the hot subject that everyone wants to know, and
Hell
how, now you can talk about it, no NDAs, all that jazz that they make you sign. Your overall experience, how was it?
I would do it again tomorrow in a heartbeat, not even thinking about it.
With Kale?
With Kale. Definitely with Kale.
Seriously?
And, I might have told you this before, but yeah, Kale was tough to work with. He was tough, but outside of, go back to the love of Lego, he can build. You can't knock.
You got to give it Kale. He can build.
He can build, right?
He talks a big game because he can pull it off when he
He's
can pull it
a
off,
very
right?
talented builder.
And I think going to the full controversial, the core of it was I wasn't at Kale level. No, not many are. And because I wasn't there, it was like that was his frustration coming in.
Yeah.
The way he dealt with that frustration, I got frustrated back. Don't treat me like this.
Yeah.
And that's where, and that just, and that's
So
when you get love.
obviously, it's been aired differently to everybody. Obviously, there's an unedited version everywhere, hidden somewhere in the vault at Channel 9. How was the actual experience filming with somebody that you were clashing with?
It was tough. Like you're not gonna lie, it was a bit hard because it was more the fact. All right, Rick, let's come and build some dinosaur eggs. And you're like, eggs are square. I'm like, mate, they're not freaking square. Mate, I'm telling you, they're square. If you look at this egg and we get on 1 foot, that was I saw. And like you can go back, I think there might have been one of the offshoot interviews that they clearly say Bilsy can see the end goal, the end picture.
Yeah.
Kale, you just want to show off, and that wasn't my words. That was come from the producer.
Yeah.
Case in point, the T-Rex head.
Well, he needed to. I feel that he needed to prove to everyone what he was capable of.
Totally, and not even that. Like we said, we know you can build, but when you're on a challenge, when you're being told to build to this, and this, and you're literally throwing it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what it was. And if you go back and think, like we had the Jurassic era. There was the cowboy.
Jealous.
We had the cowboy one, and well, the other two. I'm totally mind blank. Oh, G and Dave got the futuristic-y, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So going back to that, if we built a Jurassic theme, and mate, Lego is built to build Jurassic and dinosaurs. You can go at the ballpark and go nuts. Clearly, everywhere,
Rick's
right?
pointing to his dinosaur in the background.
Yeah.
And we know, obviously, you're a lover of dinosaurs and big lizards. But if you think, right, if we built that to scale to his level of build, we would have beaten everyone. No question, we would have come out of that on top. The country and western from Henry and Cade was fantastic.
Amazing.
Like, and the way they come out, but like that future floating blimp or whatever G and Day have, you know what I mean? We gave it away. So that's the only thing out of the whole series that's kind of like, mate, you kind of shafted us when we could have. Yeah, we might not have been good in the final, whatever, but we could have been in that, that final. So.
But when you're under so much pressure, you're never going to be able to build your best, right?
No, of course not. But, for what, like you said, what you don't see, behind the scenes, off camera, us at the hotel room having pillow fights, you know what I mean? It's like...
best friends.
With bricks.
Lovers.
It was, and there's no secret about it now. Like that one episode was filmed over 3 days.
Yeah.
It wasn't one long whatever episode. We're sitting like this at a coffee table and it's like, mate, we can't build that head. We can't build that. We can't. And then it was kind of
So from the outsider's point looking in, right, like, obviously we have a special connection because Lego Masters projected our business
together,
in like a massive way, right? And the season 1 guys are the ones that like really exploded onto the scene. From watching the episode, I'm like, dude, Like, you could see the head is like my head. Like,
Like, that's not going to happen.
what are you doing?
You
Like, it
can't
needed to be
finish
a
that.
certain scale, right? And, like, Kale is a great builder, and I've always said that. I'm very open with him. He's generally a good builder. It's just, I think in the moment, I don't know if it was the pressure coming from, the producer saying, like, this is the first season, we need this
something amazing, yeah.
Well, I mean, two things out of that. We could have, going back to the build, we could have turned that dinosaur head into a rock formation. It's an old rock, there was heaps of ideas, and that there was ideas getting thrown at us. It wasn't just, let's look back now, what could have we done? It was Kale turn into a rock, put it here, make it this, make it that. But it was more on the other side as well. I think the producers were amping it up because this is good bloody TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and like,
that's the.
I guess it's hard, right? Because now we've had multiple seasons, and you can see how things are edited. You know, surprise, here's the winner in the first season, like that sort of stuff. I think anyone under that pressure and how big it was at the time, because you guys pulled the most numbers of any.
I think it was over 1 million every episode.
Wow.
For general TV ratings, that's not video back on demand or 9 Now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was huge.
Everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
It was a huge topic of conversation. Every time you went onto the computer and looked at the news, on the first page, one of the articles right there was Lego Masters.
Yeah, it was like a hype and a half, and like they pushed it and they promoted it, and it's household now. It's almost up there with the block. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's better than the block. Less drama.
Yeah, well, that's it. Less money,
No comment.
But
So,
you're
no,
good.
I was just going to ask you when filming was on.
Yeah.
Did you take holiday leave, or how did that work?
Yeah, so because I work in radio, everyone's replaceable. So it's just another voice to the next voice. And
You're not replaceable to me, Bills.
Oh mate, please! I press the right
Cue
play
those
buttons.
smileys.
That's right.
No, it was. My bosses were good. Like, I mean, I'm good at my job. I've been there 12 years, 11 years, so it's kind of had that relationship. And yeah, they were like, if you don't, because I actually didn't want to take it at first. It's like, this is kind of like, it's a long chunk. And then my missus was pregnant as well. We didn't have the baby; she was pregnant. So I was like, I'm leaving. Pregnant missus, leaving my job. And then at the last minute, the partner I had instead of Kale, the partner I actually had, his missus just had the baby, so he was out. So it's like, all this was like looking bad, and then you sit back and like, mate, this is a once in a life, and it was the best once in, and I'm so glad I freaking did it. I've met you guys, like, I knew, I've heard of Rick James, I've heard of all the builders, like I knew Henry from online,
Henry's massive online presence. Out of everybody, Henry was the one that was like, oh, I know that guy.
Big time, from the Gundam, and his Sentinel, and me and Henry are now best mates, like he's on my Lego streams each week now, so we've come out of this on top, and it's just, I'm so bloody glad, and I want, like, it does suck, but last Christmas I got asked to go back and do the special with Henry in the celebrity special. I was asked, but literally, flight was leaving Thursday. Got a phone call Wednesday. Premier shut the borders.
Oh,
so even though I was a resident and I was prepared to do the 2 week and all that kind of stuff, can't come down. Sorry, and that's why if you go back and have a look now at the Celebrity Lego Masters, they're all Sydney people. Because it was filmed in Sydney.
Yeah, we were having this conversation with Henry, because we'll get Henry on at a later date when Mr. Famous is not as busy. Like, we've been chatting, obviously. We're all friends. Like, all the meet and greets we did, how massive it was, we all kind of became close.
Well, that's it. Like, going back to the whole connection and the literally the connections. I come down here, we did the store day, barely knew who you were, but since then, we've stayed in touch. We now talk as mates. We shit talk, we joke, we have fun.
I think looking back on it, it's hilarious, right? Because future generations of Lego Masters are now suffering for Bilsy and I, right? Because Bilsy and I organised meet and greets and did things that maybe shouldn't have happened at the time, but it happened. And Bilsy travelled all over the place.
Yes.
Because, you're a celebrity right now. You can get flown to New Zealand and all this sort of stuff.
You did go to New Zealand, didn't you?
Yeah, and so you're not wrong. I upset a few people higher up in the management side of things.
Yeah.
So,
from production or from Channel 9?
To be honest, I don't know where it come from in the end. I don't know if it was production rubbing Channel 9.
We've had a few spicy phone calls from productions, and I'm worried.
That's what I mean. I don't know which side it was. Now, I come down 3 years. I get on with both of them as much as I need to. But at the time, the contract said, make sure all deals go through us, blah, 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 blah. You have to do the sign. Yeah. But we were told, and the contract wasn't, you can't do nothing, you have to, there was a lot of holes. I've worked in radio for so long, I know the holes.
Yeah.
So, I went to New Zealand, I did my thing, never advertised as a Lego master, never did it, but they were on me like, you wouldn't believe, you can't do that, you can't do
what
this,
did you
you
go
can't
and do in New Zealand?
So Dan, Between the Bricks, another big...
Really? He's pretty big on Twitch. He's pretty big on that.
He'd be one of the biggest on Twitch.
Yeah, he is. Out of the Aussie/New Zealand guys that do Lego, he would be the biggest, right?
Biggest by far, yeah.
Yeah.
Between the Bricks, just literally contact me. Hey, we've got a show north of New Zealand. Do you want to come? And straight away it's like, what do you charge? What do you fee? What do you do? All this kind of stuff. And, it's like, do you then reach out, read the contract, reach out and go, hey, Channel 9, this is what I've been offered. And I'll tell you now, Channel 9 are going to go, okay, you get $1,000, we want 4,000. They want to, they'll inflate. It's the world it is.
Let's clarify some things for the people watching and listening at home. I have the fortunate experience of dealing with Channel 9 and Endemol. When I mean it's like snail mail, like there was some times when we were doing meet and greets, they're leaving it to the final hour, 5 minutes before the event's meant to happen, we're getting approval. Like, you can't...
Yeah, and it's too late.
You can't risk that. And then, you shouldn't do it this way, but sometimes things need to be broken for you to get steamroll ahead, right? And no one in life gets to where they are without breaking a few rules. And we had to do it because Lego Masters meant such a big deal to Caroline. I know we did Gayan and Danushi first, did it the legit way, reached out, took weeks, blah, 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 blah. Awesome. Did with you, took them ages. I remember, I don't know. And you're like, mate, like, we got to strike now. It's hot now. Let's get it going. And it was this big deal. I think it was our one when we had Henry and Cade. Were you there for Henry and Cade?
Not the Henry and Cade
Okay,
one,
so it must have been the one before that. So the final one you were at. I was like, oh, Bilsy's coming again. Mate, the email I got back was spicy content. Like, my God. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, hey...
But we'd never signed any contract.
We never signed any contract with these companies.
No. So what it was because I went to New Zealand and did some Lego shows, without telling them, and then they rang me and I was in New Zealand. Like, what are you doing?
They asked you.
Oh my God!
I've got a show tomorrow. What do you want me to do? I tried to email you.
Yep.
Oh no, he doesn't work with us anymore. You got to go to this guy. This guy doesn't work.
Yeah, but you didn't know that, right?
No. They're not going to tell me, man. Who am I? I'm a contestant.
Mate, you're the famous Bilsy.
Please.
Famous
anyway,
Bilsy.
so I didn't break no laws. It's just that I didn't go through their red tape up and down. But there was no red tape when season 1. There was none of that in season 1.
And because of, I think, what we did, because we like
So the big one, the big day here was a big holy crap.
Yeah, that's what gave Lego Masters the company behind it anyway.
Yeah,
and I'm obviously gave them a bit of a fright because do you remember how many people it was like...
Oh, we went for a walk. We went around the Daniel car park.
It was
you
intense.
could look out the back door of the shop next to us, which was quite deep.
And it was in the car park.
You could see the end of the line, like people wrapped all the way
around. It was massive. And we will be forever extremely grateful to you guys. This is why we have a special connection, and I feel kind of bad for season 2 and season 3 and the future seasons going forward.
We couldn't.
I don't think we can replicate that ever again because there's so much red tape now and so much pre-approvals, and you got to do this and you can't do that.
There was no COVID. It was before COVID.
COVID hurt. I think the previous 2 seasons pretty badly because
But in saying that too, so doing New Zealand, my head got big. Coming, doing Rick James, my head got big. I was like, mate, I'm actually, people want to see.
Yeah.
So then I went on a rampage. I'm hitting up every store, every Lego connection.
How many meet and greets do you think you did? Honestly. 100? It would be over 100, right?
Are we talking 10? Are we talking 20?
No, it was like...
No, yeah.
He was pumping. It was like 2 every weekend.
Oh, really?
I remember watching Instagram and I used to tease you guys because I'm like, yeah, thanks, Rick James.
I did a lot.
Because I was like, Henry as well. So Henry not only did he win Lego Masters, he got out of a lot of meet and greets at the Lego stores. Yeah, thanks, Rick. It's all this and it was just like the hot thing, right?
But in saying that, so for Victoria, for down here, we did do one...
Chadston, yeah.
For them. Yeah. That was kind of a whole big group kind of thing.
But was it as good as ours?
No, of course not. Please.
Please.
Disclaimer. But then all of mine were Queensland. Most of mine were Queensland.
Of course.
But then you're a Queensland contestant. You've got a young kid who's basically just been born. You don't want to travel too far because you're not a dick. So you don't want to be like, oh, I'm going blah, blah, blah. You're focusing on Queensland. That's where you're based. It's a smart business decision. Right?
I looked at it as like stupid if I don't try and do something up there. And, mad shout outs to Matt and Lynn. They were calling me when they were getting asked to do things.
Seriously?
Henry did it too. Henry took me to Sydney for one or two of their events.
Oh, great.
So we all kind of look after each other.
Yes.
So, and Cade's in Brisbane. So Cade's kind of got Brisbane. I kind of got Gold Coast.
Yeah.
We had that going for a while.
Yeah.
And then, slowly as it all, 3 years on, I'm still doing work with Dreamworld. I'm still down here chatting with, mate.
Yes, great.
I've got the best piece of the cake.
Well, I think too, we touched on this with Dave Holder's, episode.
We did.
Back in the day, before Lego Masters, Lego wasn't really as big in Australia as it is now, right? It was kind of like, it's okay. Lego stores were I think it was Dreamworld was open back then.
Fresh.
It was fresh,
Very,
right?
very
Like
fresh.
fresh. Because I remember our opening weekend at the previous store before this one, there was the Dreamworld accident. That's how fresh they were.
So
it was
I think-
around that time.
It was.
It's either, I think they might be just gone 4 years or just gone 5 years.
Wow,
So
yeah.
it's pretty.
Because I saw their party thing. That they, you do that.
Must be 5 years.
Yeah. So
We were
Lego
talking
wasn't
about
such
that,
a
yeah.
massive big thing it is now, because Lego is huge now in this country, as it is everywhere around the world. But Australia, it's exploded.
Isn't it funny that you mentioned that? Like you said, COVID hurt season 2 and season 3, but he boosted Lego like you wouldn't believe.
Oh,
We know.
It was incredible.
what a difference.
Dude, it peak COVID, and this is where people are like, oh, you're exaggerating. It's like,
No.
mate, I reckon if I wasn't on the good medication I'm on now with my body, I reckon I would have died. We were shipping so many parcels to the point where
I'm
it was
healthy. I'm fit and healthy.
we were struggling.
My joints, everything.
You're
was
having mental
aching.
breakdowns, dude, because you're shipping. We were doing peak day was 560 parcels.
I would
or something.
honestly sit at that
Every
computer,
day.
and
Bloody
if
hell.
it took me 5 or sometimes 10 minutes to print all the orders, I was thankful because I actually had to sit
Dude, it was
down
relentless.
for 10 minutes.
Like
So
relentless.
you look at it like this. Go, if those are watching now or listening now, go back to the photo of me and you back when you did that first thing. You're in a polo shirt, mate. You're in a button-up shirt now. Bang.
Professional.
Business.
Still shorts, but professional. Like,
you good at
it hides the rolls, dude. That's why I'm in a shirt. It hides
Don't
like
ever
the.
see me in a t-shirt.
You're like a
now.
streamer. You're professional above the desk.
That's right. It's all like party downstairs. But it's one of
right.
those things, right? COVID's been terrible for the world. Obviously, there's been a lot of death but for Lego as a company, mate.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Lego and board games and puzzles.
It's whether
Home
the
stuff.
growth can be
Oh, dude, anything you
sustained,
can be
of
at
course.
home, anything you can do as like a family, non-video game type stuff, right?
But and you got to give respect to the Brickman and the Lego Masters crew. Like they've ridden it well. Like
Yeah.
they've
Of
done
course.
bloody fantastic with
and
it.
filming shows during COVID. Ugh.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I heard a whisper, and I don't know. Maybe you know better than I do that it might be filmed in Perth for season 5.
Well, I heard
That
that,
would be
and I also
interesting.
heard season 5 might be All Stars.
Call me up.
That's what I've been hearing, whispering, because Lego Masters has performed well in this country, extremely well.
Yeah.
But as time, like MasterChef and The Block, things start to
Of course.
because you had that massive bang Lego Masters, and then you're gonna have
Yes.
it might be time for them to take a year, do season 5, do All Stars, and take a break.
Like you said, go back to the the show, the shop displays and the meet and greets. Back to you said 10 or 20.
Yes.
You don't realize I did a few shops. I did Dreamworld, I did that, but I also did schools. I was going to schools
Oh
every
wow,
other week.
yeah, cool, man, that's awesome.
Every school, and then once you do one school, you're in the system.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
I did art centers. I was going to art centers,
dude, that's awesome.
doing nothing. I was doing kids stuff, and then smaller Lego type independent shops. Would want me to come in, and it was just like I said. Look now, I never see. There's a few other Lego Masters that have picked up and done the school thing and the touring, but not so much
but do you think
as it was then.
No, it was a different time. We did say to you all at the time, it'll never be.
You remember those
peak
conversations?
of
We'd
what
have
it
big dinners
is,
at the
you
end
know?
because you guys have done well for us. We do well for you. We look after you guys. We were having dinners, and I'm the kind of guy that's a realist. You need to ride this and milk it until the next season, and then you're done. Because you
Fame
can't.
can be very
But also too,
fleeting.
Bilsy,
Yeah.
hard work, man. You're a hard worker.
You've got to grind. You can't.
Yes.
And you know what? And there's no doubt about it. Even now, season 4 people have contacted me saying, "Hey, how do I?" From as simple as how do I get free Lego to how do I use this to my advantage. So some legit, some just come on, cheap jokes, mate. You want free? No, but
Shout out because this will
Yes.
air after it.
Oh, that's right.
Joe. So There's a guy that's going to be on the show, Cheap Jokes. This will air. We'll make sure Dan does some editing magic and we time it afterwards.
Yes.
So a guy we know, Cheap Jokes, is on the show. We all know he flew up.
Or Andrew. I guess
Andrew, Brick Banter or whatever he's calling himself these days. Like, we all know that he's been trying to get on every season, and that's fine. Like, we all have a crack, you know.
There's other people that do the same thing.
Yeah, you know, Ryan Evans from season 3, like, he was every season. Same deal, you know.
Yeah,
like,
but like I said, going back to it, you know, I've had a few, not all of them, like, there's been a good handful that have asked me, how do I, and I just tell them, start now, just like
contact Rick James.
Yes.
I have genuinely told
I've had a few DMs like, hey, I'm on the show. I'm like, I'm not meant to know that, so just wait and message me later.
Because now, like you said, the contracts are tighter.
Yes.
You're not supposed to know.
Well, and it's all too, like, I understand, right? Like, when you're doing a show about a toy, like, you know, there's Domino Masters or whatever it is in America now, which is pretty cheesy, but, you know, whatever.
That would be good viewing.
But, like...
Carl, let me just pause you for 2 seconds, right? You say Domino Master, it's a bit cheesy. I told my parents I was going on a show of Lego. Oh, Lego show!
Jokes
But
on
I
them.
do believe that what Lego Masters did for Lego, Domino Masters will do for Dominoes. I can guarantee you. Because I believe building with Dominoes is harder than building with Lego. Building anything massive in grand scale, not knocking it over. You know, like Lego's hard, like, but like, you know, it's going to explode. But it's one of those things, right? When you, like, when they were talking about Lego Masters, I remember getting the email like, "Hey, do you want to be on a show about Lego?" I'm like, "What? No. What's that going to? What are you going to do? Like, build a Lego set?" Like, because we were like, "No, this is dumb." Like, and everybody we know like got emailed, right? Like, "Hey, do you want to do this show?" And like, none of us are like, "This is dumb."
It's not a big community either.
Well,
in Australia.
Well, yeah. Well,
even back then.
Back then it was tiny, right?
Very
like
tiny.
where now there's hundreds of people that like Lego, which is awesome. But you sit back and go, man, what are they going to do? And then when it exploded, I was like, I should have been on this show. You know, after I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, and then obviously
I could have been like, Bilsy, god damn it.
like, come on, Bilsy. Like, and I was like, don't hit him, Bilsy. Like, you know, like it's all like, and we were chatting about it, and then you reflect and you're like, did I really want to be in? And then, you know, see, it was season 2.
Yes.
Yeah, so like Runa and Annie were in the same build room as me. You know how that
For the tryouts.
for the tryouts. And Ryan Evans was in that group too.
Ah, okay.
So like, you know, but when you see things like contracts, you're like, I don't know if I want to do this.
I looked at
Like
the contract was like,
you know.
no, thank you.
Yeah, but people are watching that. Don't blame me for all these contracts.
It's you, Bill.
Just because mine was a bit thin.
Put a square around him, Dan. Do some magic. Put wanted, like a big poster. Like,
No, it'd be more like this one. I win.
but it was like, I think too, you know, there's been a massive increase in obviously Lego sales, COVID.
Yeah.
There's obviously a new season.
You know, it's funny though. You say that, like, okay, so Lego Masters, and I look at this as purely like, obviously I stream. I got my Twitch. I got that.
Famous.
And you know, the more popular it gets, the better for me, the better for you, as it is. But isn't it funny that it's not rolling into the Lego Master popularity? As in, you know, 3 years on, I'm lucky that I'm blessed, I guess, that I still get help from Dreamworld and help and get to come down for you guys, all this kind of stuff. And like you said, the Lego 2 and Lego season 2 and season 3, even though COVID hurt them, it almost doesn't seem as they're kind of just filling the next spot now.
That's
the next
right.
spot. The
That's
next
right.
spot.
What you guys did was groundbreaking. It had never been done before. No one knew what sort of challenges there were going to be. When there were challenges, it was like, oh, look at this. What a great idea. It's so new, so different.
We know a mutual producer. We can't drop his name because I don't want to get in trouble, but we know a fair few mutual producers that work on the show. Every time they do a similar style, I'm like, again?
Yep.
Do you think? Okay,
Good.
good point. How you said, and you nailed it, Carolyn. Where it's like, oh, look, you know, they've got to build a bridge. I mean, they've got to build a DeLorean to scale. You know, like we can.
Yeah, Bill.
Do you know what? You know, we can. I can dead set. We can go through every single episode of what we built, and there was something like eye rolling in every single one. But going back to the actual challenges, season 1 Lego Masters come out, and then United States come out, then Denmark come out, then Netherlands come out. Then it was like I think there's
Italy as well.
There's 13 countries.
Seriously, wow.
13 countries do Lego Masters. Everyone's got the internet. Everyone knows how to find a way to watch a show. If you got, English is going to be the barrier, obviously, but you still put some loud music on and watch them build Lego.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Then you come back to another season. It's almost like you said, we're up to the block episode, series 19. It's another. How are they going to be? And that's where the behind the scenes people that we do know that's where their game needs to be up here.
Well, this is the comment I said to one of them. I was like, look, I understand that it's hard because I don't know what permission they need to whatever to use Lego in, right? But you reach a point where people want more and expect more because season 1 broke rules.
You're building on the foundation that you've established in season 1.
Yeah.
Right? There was no foundation for season 1, so everything was new, different, exciting.
Well, I mean, not even that. Like, even when they were ready for challenges, like, so the bridge challenge, for example, they had the kettlebells. That was never a thing. So we filmed, we did all the bridges, we did all that kind of stuff, and they had this little Tonka truck. I think they showed it on the... Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They had the Tonka truck that was going over the bridges, and that got to 8 kilos max, and then the thing died. They went to a gym supply shop that night to come back the next day to weigh it with the kettle. That wasn't expected.
It was so crazy. We were like calling out, not quite screaming, but we were super excited. The TV, look what they're doing now. Oh my goodness.
Caroline's innocent, but she was just dropping some F-bombs, weren't you, Caroline?
I don't know what you're talking about.
At me or for me?
Well, yeah,
the fact that I normally don't just means that it was more impactful.
And you know what? It wasn't just that. Like, the amount, even when I come down here, the amount of people that you meet, it's like, the one thing they all say is, we were screaming at the TV. And normally for me, personally, I get, why didn't he listen to you? You know? But in general, it's like every episode, everyone screamed about the challenge or about what we're doing, or why didn't you do that? And you done this, and
it was so exciting to watch, wasn't it?
Lounge chair critics are the best.
Well, yeah, and plus too, you know, I understand the frustrations of building with somebody that's not listening or not getting along, and I think people thought you guys were mates, but because I feel like you've shoved two people from completely different walks of life, smashed together, it can either work like Henry and Kay did, or it can be bad like you and Kale.
Well, here's a question for you. Say season 4 comes out now, right? Mm-hmm. What if there was another Bilsy and Kale, like a proper clash/villain? You reckon that'd amp it up? Let's watch it, you know?
Maybe.
Or would it be the level of... We're at maths cringe now. Do we really need
probably maths
villain?
cringe? You reckon? Because maths has been in the news the last whatever
it is, yeah.
Because there's been some few bad things going on, which you know shouldn't happen to anybody. But like,
oh yes,
there were also
you know what I'm talking about. There's been a lot of like, oh Jesus, what's going on there? Like
to when you were filming, there wasn't the streaming services of people. They weren't as popular as what they are now.
Well, and there wasn't
COVID, and people were like, well, I'm stuck at
Disney
home.
Plus,
Netflix, all the rest of it. That's about the time when we started getting into all of that. There weren't all those competing forces.
Yeah.
It was just, you watch whatever's on TV, normal TV.
Well, even back then, try to explain to someone what Twitch was. I was on Twitch back then, and I had to explain to everybody. It's just like YouTube.
I still have to like explain to people now. They're like, you're on Twitch? I'm like, yeah, it's like YouTube, but better.
Yeah. And the next one is like, you know, you talk to people about Discord.
Yes.
Which, you know, it'll become a thing slowly, but, you know, you got to explain what Discord is. Like, it's a chat room, but, you know.
I only knew about that because of COVID. It's like, okay, let's play. We were going to play a game together Among Us. We were going to play. And Rick's like, we'll do this Discord. I don't know much about it, but they've told me this is how we do it. You know, same with Twitch. I didn't know anything about that. And I guess unless you're a gamer or in that, in the industry like you're not going to know. If it's not relevant, you won't.
You're a pretty big deal in radio up there, right?
Mate, number one. Literally, 18 to 25-year-olds, number one.
Seriously? Mate, I just need to go to Queensland and get on the radio.
Watch the shoes.
Oh, come on. They're just the red ones, mate. You haven't got the special yellow ones.
Got the red ones. Rick's got the yellow ones. You coordinated.
We did. We kind of like coordinated like perfectly. Oh. But with everything reflecting on the whole, like, I don't want to call it Lego Masters journey. Are you happy the way you were portrayed on TV?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
Definitely.
You were portrayed very positively.
And I do get that feedback. Like, at first, it's kind of like everyone is like, okay. And you know what's funny? Me and Kale were talking daily up until the first episode, sorry. And then it was like ghosted. Because how he was... And I get it to him. See, this is the thing. People either really dislike Kale and love me, or it's vice versa. I'm definitely, as much as it's going to shit people, I'm a fence sitter because I know, obviously, I was there.
I could see during those interviews, though, when they were interviewing both of you, were side by side, and you could just see you nodding. Yep, nod.
And you know, it's you know, if you get to talk to Kale, it's reality TV. It's not reality in his view. You know what I mean? Yeah. They pushed on the villain. I mean, they had a theme song for him. I didn't even get a theme song. You know, they had that dun 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 dun. That full deadly. I loved it. It was my ringtone for a while too. Yeah.
I think too they played like, you know.
They used, and that's what I mean. Like you said, how people portray me. Yeah, I did come across. Hey, I was a dick off camera every now and then. I tell you now, like.
Yeah, but was that because of the environment between you two? They got kind of frosty.
Yeah, I mean,
Frosty, I see what you did there.
Hey,
Kale.
But nice. Like you know, from day one, we both tried to make it work really good. He picked me up from the airport. We hung out. I went to his house. We built. It was pretty good. Like,
awesome.
And because we both realized, okay, this is a big, new, fresh thing.
Yeah.
Let's make it work for both of us somehow. And like, he already had an Instagram, had a following. He was killing it.
He struck gold that they showed his Instagram on TV.
He struck gold by saying that he's a DILF. Here's my Instagram, mate. That is a winning.
And as soon as
scale.
they did the scroll and you see it, like millions are like
He
bang.
had the most amazing builds already on his Instagram.
Yeah.
You know,
and like we said, so we tried to work it, and the first, and here we go. So I look back now that I've never really sat down and talked like this about it. So the first day, you walk in, hey, there's Hamish, there's Brickman. Sit down, okay, the challenge is cities. You need to build, here's your city block, build the city.
Yeah.
Kale walked, now just thinking about it, like, what a dick. He walked like 20 meters out, off camera, off stage, around the back corner, and sat in the corner by himself like this for like 20 minutes.
But maybe he needed that time just
to think.
It all.
Yeah. But every other team, we should build this. What design we're going to go to. This is the story we're going to need.
So he walked off without you, his partner.
We walked off in a group. And then when you're backstage, everyone's kind of, like say like this. And hey, Caroline, make sure, let's build a 3-story house. And we want it to be this big and this tower, and then you look at Garn and Danushi and they're back and like they're, and then Kale's sitting over there on the ground. And I'm like, walked up, so what are we going to build? I've got a picture. And it's like, now I think about it, it's like, man, you're a dick from day one.
But I guess it's just about you not understanding.
In that sense.
You're having two strangers. You don't know exactly how each other operates.
And you know what? That's you've nailed it. Like, he's a very much, he sees his world in Lego and what's he going to build. Mate, let's wing it. Let's just build. And that obviously showed, through each episode. But, we did try to make it work. Definitely, like after the shows, everybody went out for dinners and lunch. We went back to the hotel room and we tried to make it work as in we were never told what we're going to build the next day. That was always the hardest, and it's part of the TV show,
Of course, but still.
Good morning. You now got to build. The DeLorean drives in. Here, you got to build this to scale. And it's like we got lucky on that one because we kind of got to build for an hour or two, which was nothing. Get the foundations out, and then go back off camera. Go back home, and we stayed in the same hotel. So I was kind of like, okay, how are we going to do it? And he's like,
sorry, kids, just ruining the illusion of Lego Masters.
Mate, this is like how in depth it went. Like we got to build a DeLorean. There was no elimination, and I agree with him. Let's go big. Why not? We're not nothing to.
If there's you got nothing to lose. What's the point, right?
Nothing to lose. But Kale's big was obviously everyone's seen. We had.
Kale's.
There's that awesome photo of us two sitting in the.
It gets shared every now and then and pops back up on Instagram. You're like, oh, I remember that.
And it was like, let's build big, let's build huge. And so I was with it. I'm for it. He's like, you do the wheels, and then we'll do this, this, and this. And so if you go and you look at the episode, I built the wheels. He blocked me out. What do you want me to do next? It wasn't that he blocked me out on purpose. He was just so driven to finish the rest of the car. I had nothing to do except twiddle my thumbs.
So did you? I know it's a big question, and did you feel as an inadequate builder being next to Kale?
100%. 100%. And that also makes me think now, okay, let's do an All-Stars. Oh, shit, wait, actually, you're going to really see how I can't build now.
But really also, did that create your own mental block, being like, oh, what am I going to do? Because he's like... Because everyone who's seen Kale at shows, like, credit where credit's due, like, you can either like him or don't like him.
Yeah.
He knows how to build.
Take personality out of it.
Yeah, he's a very, very good builder.
Top 5 in the country.
Yeah, for sure.
Easy, right?
For sure.
But, it not so much puts a, oh, crap, I can't build like Kale, but it's kind of like, what do I do to please him?
Delegation division
and
of
it got to a
tasks,
point where I literally said to him, make me your brick pit bitch. Tell me what you need. Tell me what to build.
Yeah.
And the day we done that was the Titanic, and we won.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he literally, I said to him, I don't care what we build. You tell me what we need to do. And he was obviously in a good mood, and that we rolled that day. I built the ship, built the internals, the ship. He built the figures, and we did really well.
Perhaps the outcome would have been much different had the approach, like that approach, been taken from the start. But being strangers to each other, how you would never have known. It was only once you got to know each other better, and once you got to know him, that you went, right, okay, this is the way he operates, but let me guide him and say, okay, how can we work together? And it worked.
Well, I wasn't going to be the stubborn one and go, no, I'm building it my way, you build your way, because I learnt pretty quick. And it was quick to, okay, Kale's a friggin', like we said, you can't
Very
kiss his ass enough.
Was that there was a room that you guys built and half was like you and half was him? Is that, and that
So-
was where like you could see that like,
So what happened with that one was, and again, we built the parrot, pull it down, and we built the rock stage thing.
Yeah.
And again, here, Bilsy, you do that, and that, because that's kind of easy. I'll build the main character of the rock and work, and we got that hour free. So that was one day, and we were told, okay, here's your empty apartments, 3 floors, folds out, all that kind of stuff. And we kind of got lucky where end of day again. We didn't get to put too many bricks down. Cool. So we look at that like it's a reset. Let's go home. We want to build this and this and this and this. That night, something and what happened? That was the day that we kind of got the speech where we were back in them, the interview room things, the double interview, and the producer said to us, like the big producer said, same as we all know, Kale, you can build. Listen to Bilsy. He can see the brief. He knows, and I could picture exactly what Brickman and what Hamish and what the challenges were every time, and that upset Kale, being told that I was better, could take the brief better than him.
did you reckon it flipped a switch and that's what created the
So-
tension?
The switch was that night. We went back to the hotel room. Oh no, I'm tired. I'm gonna have an early night. Like, we literally have to build an apartment tomorrow for elimination. Why are you doing this now? Like, he's a minifig builder. He builds to minifig scale.
He does.
Insanely.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't even collect minifigs. Minifigs are just not
Blasphemy.
Yeah. It's just not. It's I either go. I don't build minifig at all.
Yeah.
So I was literally that night. I'm YouTubing. I'll tell you. Remind me about books in a second too. I got a really funny story about books, and I'm trying to find out. And I'm literally going Lego apartments, Lego this, Lego. What am I going to do? And I thought, okay. He said build to, make it. Was a dream apartment. So I'm like, okay, party room, DJ room, radio room, and something else. The morning we got on the bus to come back to the studio, Cal's like, you build your side and I'll build my side, and it's going to show both of our strengths and weaknesses.
Oh,
and I'm
that's
like,
dangerous.
bro, we need to work together.
Yes.
We literally need to work to make this work, man. Nah. And he even told we got on set. He said the same thing to the producers. So, I'll took back. All right. And the first thought I had was, I'm just going to fluff around, and now I tell you, you should go back and you watch it, you'll see exactly.
Yeah, now I have to go back and watch.
Yes.
Even if you fast forward it, like go,
But I want to watch it, Bilsy.
I built the room, the borders, the walls,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to touch the floors. Okay, so I build the wall, and in my mind, I'm thinking, if I build the walls, that's going to kill an hour, 2 hours. He's going to have something built. I'll work off it. What have you built? I'm going to copy you. What are you going to build? So he built this crazy roller coaster and big Ferris wheel that hung off the side and no real theme. And then he wanted sharks with laser beams, and like his imagination is insane, like child insane, crazy, whatever. So I'm like, he's built a fish tank with sharks with laser beams. How can I make that? And I ended up building some cheap piece of shit jumping castle. I think I built on one floor, and a DJ room that lit up. And it was just. Thanks to Guyan and Danushi for being hopeless and not finishing, that we slid through. That's the only reason we got through,
And it's like, I feel like whatever switch was flicked in his brain, and no one will tell you unless we get him on the podcast, which we hope we do, because I want to pick his brain about like the hate train and everything that he copped afterwards, right? Like,
I feel bad for that.
Oh, dude, it was terrible. Like I felt for his safety, because it was like. We had to block the word Kale on our social media because it was brutal. And I get it, I'm watching it, everyone, there's always something you're going to watch you're not going to like.
It was unfortunate because it was taking away from his talent
Building
as a
abilities.
builder.
And that's what I said. That's like, I'll sit on the fence. Yeah, I was the one that he built against, and people getting frustrated watching me not be able to work with him. But some people just can't work with others. And, as a person, he never really got at me. It wasn't like a hate Bilsy train. It was just I hate the way Bilsy plays with Lego train. That's what it was, right? So it was, and this is the book. I'll come back to the book. So it was because I couldn't build to the Kale level, and his original partner apparently could have. He wasn't happy with me because I didn't go back to the room every night and study. Or I've been told, you got told 6 weeks ago you're coming on TV. You didn't even practice. So he held that against me. You know what I mean? That I didn't up.
I'm sorry, your wife's about to have a baby, and
well, yeah, and it's. I see it where he was 100% Lego focused, and I was 100%. I'm on TV playing with Lego. This is sick.
Yeah, you're like, woo!
I didn't care what I built. Anyway, we got to about episode 4 or 5. It was like around I think it was around the space demolition episode. He bought me. I don't know if you ever see. You probably even sell them here. There's a box of Lego learning to build Lego books. It's like a box of 10, and you put it in a bookshelf. It's got like a picture that lines up, and it's like open, and it's got.
Trying.
He bought it as a gift. He goes, I think and it was a proper gift, But I look at it like. You bought me you open up how to build a dog out of 10 pieces, how to build...
Was it like learning to build Lego for dummies? Like that kind of stuff? Like, and you're just like, and it's hard because, obviously you're on the radio, so you already have a big personality, right? Yeah. And Kale, has a big personality as well. And sometimes when you put those two together, it's just going to explode.
It's a natural clash. And it's Go again at Channel 9's point of view, mate. They're like doing these ones, doing these ones,
doing like
thumbs up.
Let's sell some advertising.
Hey, so to be brutally honest, they called Kale back. Oh, where's my phone call?
Yeah, they did. They called him back twice, right? Twice? No, once. He's had the Kale scale for season 3.
And how good did that work for him?
Yes.
Like brilliant.
I can see they were kind of the editing was like.
Cheesy,
having a crack,
But who cares?
But that's great.
Use
TV.
it, yeah.
And this is what I've been saying a long time. Like, Kale and I have sometimes don't see eye to eye because that's what happens. I'm a big personality. He's a big personality. Sometimes you're just not going to agree, and it happens, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
And I always say credit where credit's due for Kale. He got called back, and he's built well.
He went back.
He did.
Yeah.
Because he made a name for himself.
Yeah.
He
and left that impression.
This profile. That's exactly right.
And like we said before about the hate train, like the dude copped more than anybody.
Dude, it was actually
Hands
terrible
down.
to the point where I was concerned for his mental health.
I mean, there was some parts I didn't like where he tried to blame me.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's that, and I kept trying to tell him like, mate, you were there for Lego. I didn't know how TV worked, but I know how entertainment works.
Correct.
I was there for the personality side of it. They knew that we.
But you were there for like, hey, I get to build Lego. Let's have a fun ride. 100%. And let's ride this gravy train and just get as much as we want, right?
And then isn't it funny that I was like that, and I kind of lent on him a bit where you're the good builder. I'm using you, man.
Yeah, but it takes a lot for you, and this is where you stand back now because it's been a couple of years and we've all matured because, the world's gotten different and things are going on. You can sit back and admit, I wasn't that great of a builder and I understand that and I reflect on that and, I let him down effectively, right?
Your objectives were different in the end. He was there to win, to prove that he was the best builder. Whereas you were there for different reasons.
Yeah.
You thought, well, what a great experience. I'm gonna enjoy myself. I'm gonna build, and if we win the challenge, awesome. If we don't, it's I've got my radio.
And it's funny that you say it, and it's funny you say that because it got to that dinosaur episode, and that's where I switched. It's like, no, we're here to build Lego. Why are you doing? And I look back now, I think,
oh my god,
why did I not have fun? And you look at me in that episode, mate. I had enough.
And also too, Lego Masters 3 months of filming, 2 months or whatever, how long you're on there. That's a long time to not get along with somebody.
Yeah, living
like
with
that.
them.
You're forced in an environment that you're not. When you're a kid in the school ground, they're like separate. You can't. You're together 24/7. Consuming each other, and it's just like that big, and you're going to explode, but, take away from it, would you have got as many meet and greets and stuff if it weren't a topic of conversation?
No bloody way.
You see, so it's worked out for both you guys.
Yeah.
Kale's obviously decent on social media, and he's got called back, and, he's doing his thing, and, you've always had a radio career, but you've done a million meet and greets and, all this other stuff, and, Caroline and I will be forever grateful for the season 1 contestants. This is why we're so attached to you guys and we have that real emotional connection. And I feel bad for the other seasons because they feel like that I'm not paying them much attention, right? Because it is. But we had the time of our lives, man. That was I can't explain to anybody how much fun and how chaotic.
It was chaotic.
It was chaotic. His word is chaotic.
Yeah.
But we all came out of it like best of friends, We all still chat. We're in a group together. We're always hanging on each other because, we spent those 3, 4, 5 meet and greets just intense all the time together.
It was full on.
Yeah, great group photos of the occasion. Yeah.
Always group photos. And then talking about group photos, go to the Legoland group photo.
I saw.
It's like, I'm on this end, someone's on this end.
Safety, right? And then the security cards at the back But
that
before
on the whole story.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up, the one question I want to ask you is, if you were called back and Kale wasn't an option, out of the 3 seasons, who would you be as a contestant with?
Who would you choose? Oh,
Yeah.
Very, very bloody good question. 2 answers. 1, Henry, because we talk so much shit and we get on so
Henry's
well.
a really good dude. We
And
touched
he's a
that
good
on with
builder.
Starny. Henry's just
So Henry for sure, just because of the whole
take advantage of his building.
that too. Mate, I'm here to milk it. Like my Lego streams, I bitch talk. I talk about what sets are coming out. I don't sit there and build mocks. You get me? You know what I mean? I can build.
Yeah, but like
little
it's the
bits,
same
but-
as me. Like I haven't been able to build probably for a while since the stroke, so I'm not like I'm not keen to be like, look at me build average on
But
YouTube, you know?
but they weren't looking for Australia's best builders either.
No.
You know
Well,
what I
even
mean?
now they're not really, right?
Yeah, and going back to Australia's best builders, not having a dig at anyone, they don't want to be on TV. They don't give a crap about being on TV.
Yeah,
you know?
they don't really,
Or
right?
TV scares them. You know that as well.
That's true.
But no, if it wasn't Henry, I don't know. It's kind of. I'm looking at my season because obviously that's who I know most. Out of my season, I definitely would jump Henry's up there. Cade's a really good. They're both different high class builders.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why they work so bloody well. They had the best of both worlds.
See that?
But looking at overall, I don't know. Like, mate,
Hard question, right?
no, you know what? It couldn't have been better. I'm glad I had Kale. Could not have been better because it worked out so freaking perfect.
There's a good one for the promo, Dan. Well, Caroline and I appreciate you. You know, it's been hard to pin people down, but we appreciate you taking the time and effort. Walking all the way from Queensland. No.
Oh, what a walk.
But flying in and doing the podcast, man, we really appreciate you, and we'll be forever grateful for what you guys did for us.
Nah, any time, anything you need for sure, definitely.
Thank
Hey,
you.
yo.
3 years on, and I'm still,
That's exactly right. Well, thank you, Bilsy, man. We
Right.
appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
man.